Were all you guys out there at practice? All right. You have jackets on. I don't know if the crowd was as big today as it usually is out there.
Arizona, huh?
Just like it. Northern Arizona.
How do you get Baker to kind of shake off those 3 interceptions and just move forward into this game?
Yeah, I think he's done that already. I think, second half was evident of that. And then he came out this week with, good practice and stuff. I don't think you have to tell Baker to shake off anything. He does a good job of it. And I think that's one of the characteristics of a good quarterback, is being able to shake off things like that.
Details and route depths and stuff about the interceptions, those first two. When you break those 2 plays down, what did you see go wrong?
I think when interceptions happen, sometimes it's bad decisions by the quarterback, and sometimes it's pressure happening more than it should, and sometimes this guy's not been in the right spot, and sometimes it's bad play call. So sometimes it's a combination of everything, and I think that's sort of what happened the other day. It just didn't all fall on Baker. I think we've got to do a better job of being where we're supposed to be. I think we've got to continue to do a good job of protecting, and I think we need to, just execute in general from every position.
He kind of said that this was not his word, but maybe got a little greedy that he should have thinked and dunked more than he did. So I don't care about the Houston game. So what do you do to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, I think the main thing is, you have reads, you have where your eyes are supposed to be and things like that. Listen, but at the end of the day, that game the other day can go a long way from the standpoint of him learning how people are going to play him and deciding how people are going to play him before we get into other things. So I think it's a great learning experience for Baker. He is a rookie, and he's playing in a National Football League. I don't know how many starts this is for him, but, he's a rookie, so he's got a learning curve there. And I think that was evident last week. But I tell you, I was very, very pleased and happy with the way he came back in the second half because a couple plays there, and we're right back in the game.
You've only been calling plays 4 games. Would you say that was a learning experience for you going against Romeo?
I don't know that they did anything that we weren't prepared for from that standpoint. I think critiquing myself like I do after every game, I would have ran a couple of more runs early, but there wasn't too many spots that I would have changed anything. And then we were behind and we were trying to catch up. But there was a couple of times there I would have ran the ball if I had to do over again in the first half.
So, you run 3 plays, and by the time you run your 4th play, you're down 10-0 already.
Right.
How hard is it for you as a play caller to go to the run 10-0?
Well, I think that's the decision that you have to make is, you have to decide whether to, call another run or try to get a chunk. And, that's the decision. But, it shouldn't matter whether you're down 10-0 in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. You should be playing that thing the same way. So at the end of the day, it's 2 possessions. It doesn't matter if it happens in the first quarter or third quarter, second quarter, whatever. It's still 2 possessions, and that's the way you got to see it.
Playing offense in that kind of an environment against that kind of personnel, they're ranked high, they're on a big hot streak, you're on the road. It's almost like you were playing a different sport than in some of your other games.
Well, I think, we talked to the team a little bit about it. They're a team that had won 8 games in a row. They had 3 primetime players and had some other really good players. And probably, I said last week, they were probably the best front 7 in football. So in saying that and going on the road to playing those guys like that, that was the first taste that we've got a young football team. So that was the first taste that they've had that type of atmosphere on the road. Now we had a little bit of a taste of it in New Orleans, but I don't think we're the same team as we were in New Orleans. So that was their first taste of this kind of thing together, as far as who's playing what positions and how we've been playing as well.
Callaway has these roller coaster games, it seems. You start with the Giants preseason game, the New Orleans game, And then Houston was kind of a lot of good and bad. Do you attribute that just to being so young?
He's a young guy that didn't play any football last year. So I think Antonio's got tremendous upside. He's continuing to work every day on focusing on what he has to do, and I think he's doing a good job of getting better at doing that. But you're right. I think that's a sign of a young player. At the end of the day, you look out on the field at any given moment, and we've got 4 or 5 rookies playing, on the offensive side of the ball. So, that's part of growing.
What kind of challenge is it for a young quarterback like Baker to be matched up with Luke Kuechly, who's been in the league as long as he has and is as good as he is?
Yeah, well, Luke, it seems like I've coached against Luke almost every year, and when I was in Arizona, we played him a couple of times, a couple of playoff games, one NFC championship game, and if Baker forgets a call, he'll be able to make it for him.
I want to ask another question about Callaway. The play on which he fumbled at the end, the catch was a contested catch in the middle of the field.
Right.
There haven't been a lot of those for him. He usually just runs under balls. Is that a part of? Is he improving in contested balls?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think he's made some this week in practice, and that's what receivers in this league have to be able to do. They have to make a contested catch. It's going to be in traffic. The room for error that you have wide open receivers just doesn't happen all the time. So you have to make contested catches, and you have to be able to come down with them, and you have to run after the catch. And I think he did all the above in that one, after he had just gotten finished sprinting 78 yards on one before. So, I think Tonio's doing a great job of just staying focused. And, we try to preach every play is a new play. So if something bad happens on the previous play, you play the next play. And I think those guys demonstrated that very much in this last game. And it goes the same with good plays, all right? So we go from a 78-yard touchdown, I think it was. So it's a good play, and then it ends up being a penalty, so then it's a bad play, and then we go back and made another good play. So that's the perfect example of what we're trying to get done here.
What is the key for him in his development, to take the next step? When you're talking about focusing on what he has to do, what exactly do you mean by that?
Antonio, is that who you're asking? I think that's just it. Just work. Make sure you stay in your book, your game plan book. You're watching tape. You understand how people are going to play you. And then you just focus and concentrate and do your job. And I think he's gotten better at that as the year goes on. But again, he's a young guy, so you have to stay on him, make sure he's doing the right things. Adam Henry's doing a great job with him. And we'll see where he's at the end of the year. We try to preach that, you keep your head down and work, and don't look at the scoreboard. Don't look at the day of the week even. Just keep your head down and work, and then see where you're at in 3-4 weeks down the road. And I think we did a good job of that, starting a month ago. And I think we're continuing to do that. One game's not going to define our season. Houston's not going to define our season. So we're going to keep our head down this week and not look at the scoreboard and just play every play like it's the next one and see where we're at the end of the game.
Finished product, do you see Callaway as the #1 receiver in the league?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I know he's young right now, and I don't know what. I don't know. I know he's got a great ceiling, very high ceiling, and some of that depends on Antonio. How good he wants to be and how committed he is to doing that.
And taking a punch in the gut last week at Houston after having some success and wanting to get back there. You haven't been in this OC role until now. And with a rookie quarterback, you kind of take it on yourself as a guy who has to lift up the offense by the bootstraps and get it back to what it was doing against the lesser defenses?
Oh, I definitely do. We keep talking about lesser defenses, but it seems like, that's kind of ebb and flow. You look at this defense this past week in yards per carry, they went down. So, or yards per game, they went down. So, at the end of the day, we don't ever look at stats. It's whoever lines up across from us is who we're playing. We don't make the schedules, and we don't affect the other team's record until they play us. So, one way or the other, the record's going to be affected. So, but as far as our guys' mentality, we try to preach it on a day in and day out basis, and that doesn't change. Win or lose, we're going to try to be the same person and approach work and approach practice and approach the games the same way.
You Big help from Baker, even though he's a rookie, in terms of him. I mean, maybe that's his nature anyway, to work the locker room and lead guys.
Yeah, I think you're. I don't know that you develop a leader. I think you're either a leader or you're not. And I think Baker's definitely a leader. I think he did a good job on Sunday, and realized that you can still help while you're struggling a little bit. And at the end of the day, the kid made 3 bad decisions, and everything else was pretty good. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of records he set in the second half, but it had to be something. And he made 3 bad decisions in the first half. And in this league, against good football teams on the road, you make those decisions. You got an uphill battle the whole day.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I want to ask you about something you said last week. When you said about the media searches for controversy,
Yeah.
have you seen an example of that here this year?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's always if you put yourself out there to have controversy, I think it happens because I think you guys will find it. So I think that's where I would stay on that question.
It's a little bit chicken or egg there, right? I mean,
I agree.
From a growth standpoint, where do you want to see this offense 4 games from now at the quarter mark?
I couldn't tell you that. I would say the best that we can be, and I don't think we've been the best yet. But I think if we'll continue to execute and things like that, I think, we'll see where we're at.
Hey, Freddie, I know Baker gets compared to a lot of guys, but Ron Rivera compared him to Jim McMahon in the conference call yesterday. Do you see any of that in Baker? I mean, personality-wise?
I don't know. I mean, Jim McMahon wore number 9 and Baker wears 6, so if you flip it upside down, I guess that. But I know I used to love Jim McMahon. I was, 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that, in '85. So, or no, maybe I was 11. But anyways, when they won the Super Bowl, I used to be a big Bears fan. So hopefully we'll have some of the results that Jim McMahon had. Yeah. Baker, I think he gets his from Lululemon, though. So.
What kind of vocal leaders Orson Charles been for you guys?
Oh, Orson's great. I mean, he's like a fire plug, But I'll tell you what, if Orson hits me in the chest again with his hands, we're gonna have a big problem. So, I don't think Orson realizes how strong he is sometimes and how loud he is. He's really loud and yells a lot and stuff like that. So, but Orson, you need guys like Orson that there's never a dull moment with him around, whether it's bad or good. He's getting people up, getting them going. And, he's always going to be up, and he's always going to be going 100 miles an hour.
Baker called him a psycho. He had an adjective from that I won't use.
Yeah, I probably would, but I heard when I used that A word last week, I heard it from my wife, so I won't be doing that anymore anytime soon.
Mark, I think you only coached 1 year with Parcells.
Yes.
Do you still he seems to have relationships with all his guys. Do you hear from him now that you're in this role?
Not since I've been in this role, but I do communicate with him from time to time. But, it's so hard to stay in touch with guys during the course of the football season. But, yes, I do talk to him every off season, probably 3 or 4 times a year. I still consider him, I love my time with him when I was there. I learned so much in such a short time. And it's sort of like one of those things where if you coached for him or with him 15 years ago, and I wasn't on the same staff with the same guy, then I know the lessons that guy learned from him. So it's all kind of, a brotherhood internal that, the lessons you learn from him were the same lessons he was teaching back when he was winning Super Bowls with the Giants. So, that's kind of the way it is, and I'm very fortunate to have had that time with him before he retired.
Bruce Arians went on the record saying that if he were to become the coach of the Browns, he would keep you as his offensive coordinator. What did you think of that?
I didn't give any thought to it at all. Like I said last week, I don't advertise for jobs, and I've never been out of work, and I don't think I will be. So, I don't give any thought to it at all. I know one time before he said that when he first came to Arizona, he said he was going to call plays until he found somebody to do it better than him. So, I don't know. We'd have to see who was calling plays. Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, BA and I go way back. He coached me at Alabama and all that kind of stuff. I beat him a couple times, which he will disagree with on the golf course. Yeah, we've even had some cocktails together. But BA, he's I consider him a good friend, a good mentor, and I don't know. I don't get into that kind of stuff though. I mean, we've got a big game to win this week or to play this week, and 4 more games this year, and see where it lays at the end.
This month has been something completely different for you. Have you learned things you couldn't possibly have known simply because you haven't done this job before?
Definitely. I think in the same breath, I would say I learned when I was coaching quarterbacks. I learned things every year and every day. You try to learn something from everybody you come in contact. And sometimes you're learning things. Sometimes it's more important to learn things not to do than to do. And I think that's been some of the case with this little stretch too. But I've been very fortunate to draw experiences from different people that I've worked with, and some great coordinators that I've worked with, some great head coaches that I've worked with. And, part of it, fellas, is just, making sure the guys around you are playing hard. I think that's what ultimately your goal is. And sometimes it's up to them it is up to them to execute, but sometimes it's up to them to put the time in to know what to do. You need to show them how to do it and when to do it. And that's the approach I've taken. But yes, I've learned, my learning curve's been tremendous over the last month, good and bad.